There seems to be so many business conferences happening in the region. What's happening in the Baltics that perhaps is driving so much momentum?
I think that historically we are all hungry, right, to build things, to succeed. We are small nations, and it's our DNA to keep building and becoming successful, to go out of these markets and do something which is global. Yeah.
Thank you very much for stepping here in our pop-up studio at Unblock here in Riga.
Very nice to be here. Thank you.
Yes, before we start, for those who have not had the pleasure of meeting you, tell me briefly who you are and what you do.
My name is Aurimas, and I'm a founder of CyberUpgrade, which is a painkiller for all the DORA-related aspects. And I'm here in Riga to cover this topic because it's very much related to the MiCA regulation, which is applicable for crypto-related organizations.
All right, so when you talk about the DORA-related aspects and a painkiller, what are companies really struggling when it comes to looking at DORA, when it comes to looking at MiCA, and maybe some of the other regulations that are coming up in the industry?
Yeah, so DORA is not a checklist, right? So DORA is much more than that. It is not only related to the cyber topics, it's also related to the political resilience, HR, legal compliance, a number of things, right? So it's not very easy to break it down into some small things, and you have to adjust it to every single organization based on their size, based on the risk, based on the environment that they operate, the product that we have, etc., etc. So yeah, that's why it's a challenge. And ourselves, we come from a critical core banking infrastructure business, having built pretty complex systems ourselves, and we are very practical about approaching compliance, so that it's a real thing and not only moving documents from the left to the right and from the right to the left, and trying to be useful in that on that side.
All right, so now Aurimas, tell me why the CyberUpgrade chose to focus specifically on that problem?
Because it's very much related to our own experiences, right? Because as we've been building critical core banking infrastructure, we saw that many of our customers, so I had 23 challenger banks running on the platform of the previous business which I had, which was called Paysalute, and I saw that they took cyber compliance topics in a very formal way, right? So not really into this, and CISO function very formal, just focused on the documents, and building a bridge between the reality and the documentation is exactly what turns an organization into a resilient one.
Right. Okay, Aurimas. Now we've heard this discussion ongoing for many years about regulatory compliance and innovation. So when you work with clients, do you see that regulatory compliance helps them streamline and perhaps focus and accelerate, or is it still sometimes a stumbling block for them to be able to get their visions to come to fruition?
The attitude is certainly there that let's do this for the compliance objectives first, and not because we really need operational security. And that's probably the change that you need to be focused, because believe me, on the day when you are hit and on the day when you are attacked, you understand it, but it's easier said than done, because once you are attacked, you understand it, but once you hear that somebody else is, then you don't really, you think maybe it will not happen to me.
Right.
And but when ship hits a fan, then it's painful, and this is the moment. But this is the moment when it's already too late, right? And people ask me, does DORA make sense in general, for big organizations, for small organizations? I say, yeah, absolutely, because believe me, I've seen very complex and painful scenarios and situations in the financial industry.
Right. So if I understand correctly, this is definitely something that companies should do as a preventative measure. Could regulatory compliance, and specifically the upgrade in cybersecurity, could that become at any point a source of competitive advantage?
It certainly does, but maybe not for financial institutions, because we must comply. However, speaking about the supply chain, it certainly becomes one of the competitive advantages, because all the vendors to the financial and crypto industry, they fall under DORA as well. And believe it or not, most of them, we are hardly prepared to provide any evidence that we are DORA compliant, right?
Right.
And then, of course, at that stage, if you have already started the journey, or be it even ISO 27001 or some of the other similar frameworks, you already make some initial steps in order to be DORA compliant. Of course, DORA, there are many other things that come on top, but Well, absolutely, it works as a sales tool as well.
Right. Okay, Aurimas. Now, we're here in Riga today for Unblock. We were at Baltic FinTech Days just a couple of weeks in Vilnius. Then there's a Latitude 59 happening in Estonia. There's Banana Conference. There seems to be so many business conferences happening in the region. What's happening in the Baltics that perhaps is driving so much momentum?
I think that historically we are all hungry, right, to build things, to succeed. We are small nations, and it's our DNA to keep building and becoming successful, to go out of these markets and do something which is global. Yeah.
I love that answer. I love that answer. Okay, now last question for you. So, what's been your key takeaway so far from Unblock here in Riga?
I think that historically, when you speak about DORA, crypto companies, they would be very reluctant to do this, because historically they are used to the environment where there is not a lot of compliance, right? So because now if you speak to EMIs, a payment institution or specialized banks, they look at DORA and they say, hey, well, that everything is normal, that's just continuity based on what we have previously done. When you speak to crypto companies, right, you look at this and say, hey, what the hell is that? Because, well, you have previously not had to do anything related to this. So for them, it's new, but yeah, it's getting there, and it seems that they're running both ways.
Awesome. All right. Well, Aurimas, thank you very much for stepping by here, and enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thanks for inviting.
Thanks.